Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, I see them yopo.
The Pandai seat, which has now been, the Supreme Court has delivered a verdict on. So what it means is that the MP for Pandai, to all intents and purposes, when Parliament resumes or comes back from recess, would take back its seat until further notice. So, but the other angle about the politicization of the judiciary and the argument he's been trying to canvass, which is that whether Ghanaians like it or not, the judiciary is not being tainted politically, and he cites the NDC's presidential candidate, who is now the president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahame's comments that he made when he met a group of lawyers as basis to conclude that the judiciary has not been politically tainted. How do you respond to that, even before you come to the substantive Pandai issue?
And more, I'm happy about the questions you asked Kofi to substantiate it.
Okay.
You can spend the rest of the day here, he will not be able to do it because his claim cannot be substantiated, and you will only dabble in conjectures and suspicions and all manner of, comments, but he will not be able to substantiate it, and that's a fact. Indeed, one of the judges who were even promoted to the Supreme Court was Justice NDC. Was he part of the lawyers that President Mama met? No. He was a judge long before that. And so it cannot be the case that the president is appointing or elevating NDC lawyers or NDC judges. Which of the NDC lawyers do you know have been appointed as a judge? Which of them? And so there can be no basis for it.
Okay.
And so that must be put aside. It's not true, it is unfounded, and must be completely dismissed. Number two, Kofi conveniently decides to do selective, presentation of facts as far as the elections or election petition in Pandai is concerned.
Okay.
Do you know that when the first gazette was done on 24th December, a second one was done? Oh,
I'm told on the 6th of January.
On the 6th of January.
Understand how that happened.
Yes, and the Electoral Commission, so that's another debate we can have.
Yes.
The Electoral Commission.
Because you can't have two gazettes.
Exactly. The Electoral Commission should be. So those were the things we were complaining about the conduct of the Electoral Commission when we were in opposition. That apart from the fact that they are clueless and incompetent, they have tied their apron string to the MPP in order to benefit them. And I believe that going forward, those conversations can be had, and there will be no doubt about it. So the lawyers know that when there is an amendment of a law, the old one ceases to exist.
Right.
The new one now takes precedence, and reference is made to the new one. So the new gazette, which was since January 2025, when you do that calculation, it means that the petition that the NDC filed was in order, was within time. But apparently, the MPP has managed to convince the Supreme Court to hold on to the 24th one. There's no difficulty. The judiciary is a highly respected body with respected independence, with one of the most elite people that we can have. There is no doubt about it. And we respect this decision. At the very least, you know that it was a 4-1 majority decision. There was one judge that dissented. Justice Powerman, yes. You and I can agree that one dissenting clearly shows that at least there was some merit in our case, and we are waiting for the reasoning behind the judgment to be made clear, so that the party will advise itself, will advise the candidate, and we will know exactly what to do going forward.
Because one of the things that I want to know, and I wasn't in court, but one of the things that I want to know is that if the date of the gazetting had changed from the 24th of December to the 6th of January, did the EC communicate? Because obviously before the NDC would have gone to court, it would have gone to the Ghana Publishing Company Limited to check whether to check the date of the gazetting, and I'm sure it was on that basis that the legal team for the NDC went to court.
Yes.
Now, if that has changed, why did they change it, and when did they change it, and what did they communicate to the parties that no, don't go with the 24th one, we have a new one. So those are the things that I, as a journalist, I just want to
the questions many Ghanaians will be asking. And going forward, I believe that we must look into all those things. The Electoral Commission probably will have to answer a few questions, and I'm waiting for that to happen. And so, like I was saying, we respect the decision of the courts, and we advise ourselves. We are waiting for the reason behind the judgment, and we'll do that. We respect, the position of the judge. But you see, today the chickens have come home to roast.
How so?
The minority leader of the MPP, the Honorable Afenyo Markin, took the judiciary to the cleaners and called the Tamale High Court a kangaroo court. Today, the same judiciary has given a judgment. The judiciary you call the kangaroo court. A respected minority leader that some of us respect descended to the gutters and called a court of competent jurisdiction a kangaroo court. Today, the same court has given a judgment in your favor, and I can see MPP people jumping from one place or the other, benefiting from that judgment.
They couldn't have done.
But minds can change. Opinions can change.
The point I'm making is that when you were a leader,
Moro, they couldn't have done.
Let me make my point. Indeed, only 3 days ago, the minority leader went and held a press conference and said that the current Chief Justice has been put there to serve his paymasters. Meanwhile, he's the same judge that empaneled judges for you to sit on this matter for you to win. You see the double standards and the hypocrisy? For you to benefit from it, for you to win. Is he saying that when they appointed former Chief Justice, they removed and sacked Chief Justice, the Tutokono, was she there to serve her paymaster? Was she there to serve President Kufuor and he, the Honorable Afenyo Markin? Because I know that the Supreme Court does not sit on Fridays. But under the MPP, the Supreme Court sat on Friday. The Chief Justice at the time sat on it. They brought the case at 10 a.m. By 12, a judgment was given on the day that the Supreme Court doesn't sit. And so, is he saying that the then Chief Justice was serving her payments, which was President Kufuor, and he, Afenyo Markin, and all the other people in the MPP? But you see, posterity has always been there. And I am happy that today, nobody can predict the outcome of a court or a Supreme Court ruling. In several months ago under the MPP, anybody at all, even the MPP could sit on a platform and say, oh, we need a 5-0 and a 7-0. That was what birthed the name Unanimous FC. To a point that the National Security Minister at the time, Mr. Kendapa, actually had the opportunity to speak on a platform and was telling the judiciary that anytime they are giving a decision, it is in the favor of government. And that when they do that, especially when it is 7-0, 5-0, it feeds into the narrative that the judiciary is not independent. And the judiciary at the time had tied their apron strings to the MPP. But I am gratified today that we have seen about 2 cases government has an interest in that we couldn't win. And it is a sign that the predictability of the Supreme Court has changed. The narrative has changed. It is not the same under the MPP, and many people will have confidence in it. But you see, today the MPP is rejoicing. When the tables turn and cases are being delivered against their interest, they must be quiet and must not purport to scandalize and run down the very institution that gives them judgments of that nature. You understand? So we still believe that the trial judge in Tamale looked at the case and realized that a total rerun of the election will be in the best interest of the people of Ghana, will be in the best interest of the people of Pandai. But if the Supreme Court believes that it is not so, who are we? When judicial bodies rule, we are bound to go by it.
Okay.
But like I said, we are going to advise ourselves when the reasoning behind the judgment comes, and we will, as a matter of fact,
okay,
explore all other legal avenues, especially to have a judicial review and what have you.
Okay.
To make sure that we get a ruling that is in our favor.
All right. So let's spend the rest of the 10 minutes, to look at another major political event that's coming off this Saturday. And Retro TV is going to, as usual, we're going to bring you all the development, the political developments that you ought to know as far as the MPP's upcoming presidential primaries is concerned. From 7 a.m., we're going to go to every nook and cranny of this country where the MPP has its polling, where the EC has its polling centers, and talk to as many people as possible, talk to analysts, talk to the political actors. They'll be in the studio, myself, Kwesi Friye, Michael Udrose, and everybody else who has been involved in political commentary or political reporting in this media house, the Ignite Media Group. Will bring you a comprehensive updates, the views, the reviews, the analysis, and all the things that you need to know as far as this is concerned. And so please join us on Saturday from 7 a.m. till Mama calls, till the last ballot is counted, is collated, and the EC makes a final declaration as to who has won the elections. And as you do know, the countdown is on. Yeah, the countdown is on. Who becomes the next MPP flag bearer? We'll get to find out. I'm told that perhaps Kofi can confirm. I'm told by 2 p.m.
Yeah,
the elections will have been over.
7 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Okay, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Would have, and I'm sure by 3:34, by 4 o'clock, we would have known who the winner is. Yes, this is a straightforward matter. I'm sure that even the camps, with the kind of setups that they will do, they will get to know whether they are winning and by what margin. So, fortunately for us, Kofi Tonto is in the camp of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, so he will give us just a few minutes of what we need to expect going forward. But as I'm sure you have been monitoring on most of the media platforms, the whole thing is turned down to science, polls, data as against spirituality, and prophecies and so on. And it's interesting, different prophets are making different prophecies. Some say Ken will win, some say Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will win, and some say Dr. Brian Champon would win. The same prophecies, we're talking to the same God, are giving us different prophecies. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? But even with the polls, we've seen different polls giving us different outcomes. But of course, for us in Ghana, I think that for now, hate him or like him, he's the most credible pollster that we have at the moment. I'm talking about Musa Dankwa, who is polled Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to be getting some for 57% or so. There are some analysts, our own Paul Adumotri, I want to say our own, of course he works here at Metro TV, who has expressed some concerns that if Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia gets 57%, that won't be good for him, because history has taught all of us that presidential aspirants over time increase their vote tally. And so if Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia dips in line with what the global info analytics post is showing, then he has something to be worried. It means that perhaps he doesn't have the full and emphatic support of the party as he would have wished. I don't know what Kofi Tonto will make of this. So Kofi, in just 5 minutes, put everything, okay, and then they were told Africa policy lens, the likes of Dr. Hayford, Dems, and what's the name of the other guy? There's one, Professor Boedi, and so on. Yes, they have given 56%. They've given Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia 56%. Oh, 69%. Okay, I sincerely apologize. 69%. So we'll see how that goes. So what's the target? And is your target based on what the prophets are saying, or target based on your internal polls that you've conducted? Just briefly.
Yeah, very quickly, Sammy. If anything has changed about the perception of the judiciary, it changed in your headquarters. It hasn't changed in anybody's mind. I just want you to know. Even your current AG was held in contempt for the utterances he made. You called Tokonu, MPP Women's Organizer. You said a lot of terrible things. Don't come and sit here and pontificate as though you are the purveyor of moral conscience.
I thought we had finished.
I just have to let Sammy know.
You know he'll respond.
Pretend to be some,
and then there's no
some
time.
holier than thou attitude. You, the things you said about Tokon, you think you don't know? The things this guy said about Tokon. The things and your boss, Sami Jenfi, said about Tokon. Please. I'll come and sit here and do that. Anyways, my brother, God willing, on Saturday, we go to the polls. I think it's been a gruesome...
5 minutes, yes. 5 minutes.
Ah, yeah.
It's been a gruesome electioneering. And I think if there's anything we have learned, is that the decision to hold this election as quickly as possible was a sound decision. Because the things I've heard, the things I have seen, I've been quite disappointed. Even to the level of some of the candidates, their utterances have been very disappointing. So I'm just hoping that, God willing, on Saturday, we'll have a free and fair and peaceful elections, so we can select our candidate and move on.
Okay.
I am certain in my mind that my boss will emerge victorious. Of course, we lost an election and did so miserably. It was a terrible defeat. No two ways about it. But one thing is evident, that our defeat was not the problem of one person. Every data, every analysis shows that it was a collective loss. And the attempt by people to blame it all on Bawumia and his religion is disingenuous and dishonest. So my message to our delegates is very simple. Let's accept that when Ghanaians gave us 8 years, we did our best, but we couldn't do everything. Let's accept that in many instances, we did well. But then there are several instances where we disappointed Ghanaians. Disappointment is part of human life. When you make errors, you accept it and you make corrections. But to create the impression that the MPP was this perfect institution, the MPP or Nanado's government was this perfect institution, it did absolutely nothing wrong. Everything was on point, and somehow the only error we made was selecting a Muslim candidate. That is quite disrespectful to the conscience of Ghanaians. Quite disrespectful to the conscience of Ghanaians. Ghanaians know why they voted against us. The 2 million people know why they sat home. Let's empathize with them and come to the realization that we can come back on the back of admitting our challenges, admitting our errors, and forming a formidable force to contest again. Look, Ghana has made it clear, time and again, that they don't like chaos. From President J.A. Mills, even President Rawlings. He came in as a revolutionary leader, but Jerry Rawlings at a point had to sober up as a constitutional leader. J.A. Kufuor saying, Atta Mills had to even come in on the back of Asumdwehen. Then Akufo-Addo, his biggest challenge was that, Akufo-Addo was tagged as arrogant, Akufo-Addo was tagged as all manner of things. But eventually, Akufo-Addo had to position himself the way and manner Ghanaians wanted to see him.
Okay.
And then President Mahama. So it is evident that Ghanaians prefer a sober-minded, a humble, calm person to lead them.
All right.
Let's not be swayed by the wrong analysis that somehow Ghanaians prefer otherwise. They don't.
Okay.
They have told us time and again the type of leadership they are looking for.
Okay.
And Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia represents that type of leadership.
Kwaku Kwarteng said that type of leadership has led us nowhere. The country needs
Actually,
a
then
disruptor.
Kwaku Kwarteng doesn't know our history.
Okay.
Because if Kwaku Kwarteng knows our history, nobody has disrupted this country than Jerry Rawlings. If Kwaku Kwarteng knows our history, for 11 years we had a dictator as a head of state. What is more disruptive than that? Because if you become a president today, you become a president under a constitution. You can't do whatever you want. You can't fire people anyhow you want. So if Ghana is to talk about disruptive, vociferous, that kind of style he's referencing.
He was a tough person.
We've had it. We've had it for 19 years. 19 years. Then Kwaku Kwarteng doesn't know his history. And I'm telling you that time and again, Ghanaians have told us what they want. Even Rawlings had to sober up as a constitutional leader.
Okay.
To meet the standard Ghanaians wanted.
All right.
So that argument is neither here nor there.
Okay. All right.
Moro,
Want to chop your house matter?
first of all, let me...
Doc.
Hold on. First of all, we have to admit that about the only person that destroyed the judiciary was President Kufuor. He was the one that appointed MPP full soldiers and MPP communicators into court in Ghana. In fact, there was one contestant who is currently in the Supreme Court. I think he was Central Justice Yaga. He was a parliamentary candidate on the ticket of the MPP in 2016. President Kufuor appointed him to the Supreme Court. I know a lot of MPP serial callers and communicators who sit on TV and radio and then were lawyers, and then Kufuor appointed them. That was our basis of saying that President Kufuor was politicizing the judiciary and weaponizing them against the opposition. And so you cannot doubt that fact on this platform. But you see, Moro,
talk to me.
I don't think there will be anything good that will come from the MPP flag bearership race. Nothing good will come for it. At the end of the day, they will elect one. Oh, let me make a point. At the end of the day, they will be electing one person.
I'm telling you.
All the 5 people who are contesting in the MPP's race were part and parcel of the complete destruction and mess of a government that completely lost the election in 2024. Dr. Bawumia was the head of the economic management team. In fact, at the end of the day, he ran away from responsibility and Kofi Tonto knows.
How did he run away?
On 7th of February 2024, he told us that decisions of economic management team are not binding on cabinet. It means that when he advises Kufuor, he doesn't listen.
But that's a fact.
Let me make my point.
But how did you make that interpretation?
Let me make my point.
If something is not binding, that means that he doesn't listen.
He says that.
Stop the warped interpretation.
He says that.
Make that warped
he says that he was the one in charge of 33 policies. But the ones that are no good, President Kufuor himself, are you more insightful in the government than President Kufuor?
What are you saying?
President Kufuor said that the one who was managing the economy was Dr. Bawumia.
When did President Kufuor?
On several occasions, Santa Maria. Listen. Let me make my point. President Kufuor stood in Santa Maria and told Ghana that he has brought a smart, brilliant economy, Dr. Bawumia, who is coming to manage the economy.
Yeah, he was the head of the economy.
In fact, Dr. Bawumia had lectures and told us that, and mentioned all his economic management team members, that they were the ones he was working with. He was their chair. The senior minister was standing somewhere and was, let me make my point. And so the responsibility of Dr. Bawumia in managing the Ghanaian economy is not in that.
Nobody has.
At the end of the day, he told us that after all the confidence President Kufuor had reposed in him, when he advised President Kufuor in cabinet, they don't take it. That is why the economy collapsed.
Where did Bawumia
say? You cannot. Let me make my point. No. Why you are talking about
me?
No, you don't want me to talk. You don't want me to.
Moro, you held me to account. Moro, where did Bawumia say that Akufo-Addo doesn't take what he says?
He says that
the
decisions of economic management team is not binding on cabinet.
How does that equate
those who are pointing fingers to him that he has destroyed the economy? It's not him.
Where did he say that? Tell me what he said.
He read a speech for all of us to hear.
I was part of the people who read and edited the speech. Tell me where in the speech.
Moro.
He said that Bawumia said
the decision
that he was
ENT.
that it's not binding. Yes, he said that.
Why you say that? What does it mean?
What's proof of that?
But he said it.
No, it's not.
Did he
I
say
don't
that?
want, no. I don't want proof of the binding.
But what?
He is
But the binding is true.
He's in. Of course, he said it's not binding.
Yeah,
That's the new examples.
But yes,
The challenge I had with you, where you are factual, and I
Yes.
said no, you can interpret.
So the man said it. The man said it.
He said that's his understanding.
Yes. And in fact,
His understanding of
leaving
what?
members of the MP.
what he said.
Is that
Let me make
that the
my point.
people don't want to listen? Is that how? Is that what
So
binding?
if you start on the platform
Sammy,
and say that you are the head of a community management
Medical school, no.
Oh,
How
man,
you
Nigeria, I don't do medical school.
we don't do
Ah, no, yes, I do. So let me make my point.
I'm sorry.
I'm saying that
He's a brilliant guy.
any objective person in Ghana, in fact,
you know how this platform.
I'm sorry.
let me. I don't know where you're
I'm saying that
No, time is over.
Moro,
Yes, talk to me.
they are member of parliament for Judicial. He said that they went into a meeting and all of them, they told them that they should manage to extricate Dr. Bawumia from the economy. They did and it didn't work.
Who said that?
It was a strategy.
Who said that?
Judicial MP.
Yes. He sat on the platform.
Watson said this.
Yes. At Oyeripa. They said, well, look at the video. They tried and tried and tried. It didn't work. So he's advising MPP delegates not to bring Dr. Bawumia. But I'm saying that all the candidates contesting in the election,
Okay.
none of them have the proven track record. And again, more finally, every election is a referendum on the incumbents.
Okay.
When the incumbent is performing, nobody will have any interest going to look for the opposition.
Okay.
Fuel prices, dollar, policy rates, all the indicator that shows that a government is performing has been achieved by President Mahama, and we are going to do more. Okay. And so, what is the basis for going to do for an opposition leader like Dr. Bawumia?
I want to understand your interpretation of binding.
Let me make my point. Who has failed? Having failed, he has decided not to take responsibility and is shifting blame on the president who has reposed confidence in him.
Okay.
So why should any Ghanaian waste time on any candidate that the MPP brings?
Thank you very much.
I know Dr. Bawumia will win because I know Dr. Bawumia will win because they have schemed the thing for him.
Okay.
Oh,
are you going to allow him to say this and get away with it?
Yes, it's true. He says he thinks.
But
it's an expression of his opinion. So
hey, Moro,
which party organization?
He claims that the thing has been factually. We know them as NDC right now.
But he said it's true. Which party organization start from top to down?
Okay.
What has that got to do? So that's your understanding of skills.
Gentlemen, thank you.
When I talk about understanding of binding, you are fighting me.
We would. Okay, so
but we are waiting for him.
So no, gentlemen, our time is up. I'm sorry. Our time is up. So let's do this. Yes. So let's watch this.
On your campaign trail, I mean, what do the delegates tell you?
The delegates are basically looking for that one person that stands a better chance to win 2028 elections. That's what they care about. A political party is not a church. It's not a religious organization. It is a party that exists to win elections and govern. As long as you remain in opposition and you haven't won an election to govern, you don't deserve to call yourself what it is that you want to call yourself. So all the party people are dedicated. They are very focused in getting a leader that will win us power. And that is the driving force when it comes to the decision-making point. So the real decision-making point for the MPP delegates is who amongst you can win us power. And that's what they keep telling us. How do you intend to win power for the MPP? Why do you think amongst these 5 people you are the best person to lead us for victory? That's the sort of conviction they want to have from the candidates. And that's what Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia gives them.
I want to ask you one question. First of all, why should delegates vote for Dr. Bawumia? Because Dr. Barry Champons is campaigning on unity. You know, Kennedy Japan is campaigning on jobs. Communicator Japan is campaigning on going back to our roots. I mean, the MP going back to their roots. Oseya Wadichun Doctor is campaigning on education. I mean, training physicians and what have you. What exactly is the message from Dr. Bawumia?
He's campaigning on consistency and winnability. That's all. He's telling the delegates that I am the guy that can win power for the MPP in 2028. And this is my reason. I believe that in this country, political consistency is critical. In fact, the electoral sociology of this country shows that the one that has lost the previous election stands a better chance to win the next one than a fresh candidate. And that is something that has been established by data and facts. And so Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, having traveled this journey in the 2024 elections, has lots of experience. He has learnt the ropes of the job. He knows where the potholes are, where the pitfalls are. He knows where to stop. He knows where to run. The mere fact that he is the most marketable amongst all the 5 candidates is the biggest advantage. Remember, winning the next election is the number 1 decision-making point for the delegates. And they believe that amongst all the 5, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is the easiest candidate to sell in 2028. Why? Because he's very well known. Why? Because a lot of people already connect with him. Listen, 2024 was one of the most difficult.
You're still live on Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television, and well, this show is also live on 94.
I'm not PENDREAM TV. Now, so far so good. Say open online portal e Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.